Hello, family. Happy Wednesday. This is Dr. Kia Pruitt. It is Wednesday, September the 14th, 2022, and the time is 11 o'clock a.m. Joyous rising, family. So, we have breaking news, right? But before we get into the breaking news, I just wanted to let you all know that we all are well aware that the Queen has passed on or transitioned. And some of you have let me know that the official 10 days of mourning has been changed by Prince Charles or King Charles. I guess he's the king of something, right? But the 10 days of mourning has now been changed to 17 days of mourning. So thank you, family, for giving me that news because I had not heard it. And I think that's fascinating because we all know on this channel that 17 represents the 17th letter, which you know what that letter is, the 17th letter of the alphabet, which is the highest security clearance for military. And those people who had that clearance started providing intel for those of us who were paying attention around October the 28th, 2017. And now we have this news that the Queen has passed on. She's transitioned. So whenever we see the number 17, then we know that they're giving us some type of clues or cues that the white hats of the military are in charge and involved in all of this. Now, most of us on this channel know that the Queen passed on a couple of years ago, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, because Isaac Cappy, he's probably in hiding somewhere, a B-list actor and entertainer, let us know that the Queen had passed on. And in fact, I remember posting his words when he went on Instagram. He said, "Bye, B." He didn't say witch, the word that sounds like witch would start with a B. He said that because he had told us that the Queen owned a lot of assets that we in America held and that people all over the world held. Now, I'll get into that a little in a few minutes because I reported that on my channel yesterday too in a video that I did. But Isaac Cappy had said that not only had the Queen owned our assets, but that she was involved in nefarious activities that deal with our children, right? So, I have to be mindful of my words because YouTube could flag you if you tell too much truth and say certain words. So you have to get around the algorithms. So he said that she had been involved with consuming our smaller people and drinking the BLOOD that comes from traumatizing children and human beings. And so he said not only had the Queen been involved in that, but so had entertainers, actors, athletes, and people, politicians, people high up in office. In order to even make a certain amount of money or reach certain levels in society, you had to join the club, and the club participating in hunting children, abusing children, traumatizing children, and feeding off of their lucia, the energy that comes from them. And then once you assault them and do away with them, then the blood that comes from them being traumatized, that word that starts with an A and has the word chrome in it, like the Chrome computer, which was named after that, they would drink that in Hollywood. So Isaac Cappy was one of the first people in Hollywood that actually told us that. And as I reported on my channel yesterday, there were schools that came forward in Canada, private Catholic schools that came forward and actually mentioned that the Queen had been involved in nefarious activities and in the missing of Indigenous or Aboriginal children from these schools in Canada and other places of the world. And when one of the surviving children tried to speak out about it during a tribal council or an international council, when this person was supposed to come and testify against the Queen, that child came up missing. So she was allegedly involved in all type of nefarious activities, which is why many people are not mourning her death. However, officially, there were 10 days of mourning that's supposed to occur after the Queen's death. But King Charles or Prince Charles changed that to 17 days. Now, we know she is supposed to be buried on the 19th, and I believe 17 days from her death, which I think it was on the 8th, will be around the 25th. So I'm trying to figure out, and I'll be looking for you all, and I ask you all to search too, what's going to happen between the September the 8th and her burial on the 19th and the 25th, which is the end of the 17 days. Now, I can tell you again that she owned a lot of mortgages, and I found this out from Bix Weir on his YouTube channel, Road to Ruta, ROTA, Road to Ruta, or you can look at him at roadtoruta.com. And he told us that in the early 1970s, Congress had done a thorough investigation to find out who owned Seed, CEDE and Company. And he said they found out that it was owned by something called the DTCC, which is the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. Once they dug deeply to find out who was the person, the human being, right? Because some people say she's a reptilian. Who was the human being that owned Seed and DTCC, and they found out it was the Queen of England, or Queen Elizabeth. So what is held with this trust company was all the mortgages all over the world. All of the mortgages, all of the stocks and bonds, your digital assets and paper assets were actually owned by the Queen. She owned all of that all over the world. You all know that when you purchase your home, you usually do it through a mortgage. After you finish purchasing it, they give you a title, but they never give you the allodial title. The allodial title is actually something that was owned by the banks or the Queen, and they never gave it to us. After Nasara, when the Republic is announced that it has been restored, you will receive your allodial title to your property. So right now, titles, mortgages, assets, all that was held by the Queen. So now that she has it's officially announced that she's gone, those assets allegedly do not pass on to the king. So that monarchy is destroyed, allegedly. Now, this is interesting because what I'm hearing is that this is some conspiracy for you. I'm hearing that Princess Di never divorced Charles. So allegedly she died in a plane crash, right? Well, there's been some news through some underground news sources and some 17-letter military people who are high up who have been letting us know that Princess Diana actually may still be alive. Now, she is supposed to come forward along with 100 other people who allegedly died, or these people actually are in hiding. People high up in the military, people, actors and actresses that fake their deaths are among those with JFK Jr. and Princess Di that's supposed to come out. Now, according to our intel, Princess Diana never divorced Charles. She will come forward and tell us who tried to kill her. She will tell you who actually was in the car during the crash. And she will announce that she never divorced Charles. She never died. And therefore, allegedly, she is the Queen of England. Now, I'm telling you, this is conspiracy. I have no idea. Some other conspiracy that we've heard, don't shoot the messenger, okay, is that she is actually married to Donald Trump. Listen, I'm just telling you what I heard. I'm not saying I believe it, but that Baron Trump is actually their son, and that the Melania Trump is actually from the Romanov bloodline, and like royalty, like royal bloodline, and she came here and married Trump in order to be protected. Now, I've actually had family members who had protection from the military and had to go in hiding because of who they were married to. So I know what that looks like. They have a whole nother identity. When we would see this family member, we had to like sneak, and we couldn't tell anybody that we saw them. I mean, so I know what it's like to have this type of lifestyle. So people don't know who you are. They don't know your real name. Like, this is deep, okay? So if this is true that Melania Trump is from the Romanov bloodline and that Donald Trump is actually married to Princess Di, when she comes forward, there's going to be so much that will be released to we the people that we need to know, because everything honestly is just a movie. It's just all the world is a stage. We don't know what's been going on. We do know that some beings came down. We know that from history books and from the Bible, right? And from the Sumerian texts, that there were some beings that came down to planet Earth and made it with the humans and created their hybrids to control the world. Now, interestingly enough, I'm going to put a link in the description that shows you a video from the 1990s, actually, that came out to talk about how there were bloodline families, these entities that came down and made it with the humans and created a whole race of beings that controlled politics, were the World Economic Council, so they control all the finances of the world. And they were talking about how they had intended to put a chip in us to identify us, to track us, and also in order to for us to make transactions. So back then in the 1990s, it was considered conspiracy, but now we see all this news and information actually coming out. So I want you to look at that video, because it's interesting how they even talked about the depopulation agenda. And I thought to myself, that was in the 1990s. I actually was around during the Bilderberg Depopulation Conference in 2012, and I listened to it while it was going on. I don't know why, but the universe always allows me to hear and see certain things when it's happening for such a time as this. So I actually heard Bill Gates talk about his plan to reduce the population he said the population is almost 9 billion. We need to reduce the population by at least a third through immunizations. So he said that in 2012 this is real, the Bilderberg Depopulation Conference. And he said it was through immunizations. He said he needed to depopulate Africa and places all over the world. So this conspiracy video that came out in the 1990s was something that people criticized, they made fun of, but we saw it actually happening in real time. Why am I really passionate about reporting this news? Because I know for certainty, and you all know, because we can feel it. Yes, our intuition is letting us know, and now we're starting to see it because our first eye is open. We know that the Queen's death was a marker that many of these things that had happened in the past or that were planned would be over. So this war against the deep state is almost over. What proof do you have, Dr. Pruitt? Listen, when the Queen died, something happened, right? So we could see that different things were starting to come into play, even before she died. What happened to the stock market on yesterday? Are you familiar with how the stock market plummeted by about, was it 1,300 points? So some people are saying it's because of inflation. Others are saying that it could be due to the Queen's death. Yes, it plummeted by nearly 1,300 points. And it hadn't been that way for a while. That was the worst day since June 2020. And we know June 2020 was just coming off the heels of the plan, you know what, DEMIC. See, remember I said I had to watch my words and go around the algorithms. So the worst in history with the Dow Jones, it plummeted 1,300 points, and it just happened to happen right after the so-called Queen, the reptilian, died. This is something that we need to pay attention to, because we were told a while ago, I think it was actually in 2017, that the stock market would plummet, the housing market would crash, and that the fiat dollar would plummet. Now, if you all follow me on this channel or support me on this channel, you know that the United States dollar is declining in value daily. Not only because they've been doing quantitative easing since the shutdown, and they had Q1, Q2, Q3, and it just kept going on and on, where they were printing up money. When you print up money and it's not backed by gold and silver, your dollar decreases in value. So we saw that happening already we were already in trouble with debt and the USD declining in value. So, but once that happened, then the United States dollar declined in value even more. Now, on the heels of all that we've discussed, you all know that Russia actually announced that they were getting rid of or rejecting the USD. That official announcement just came out like a month or two ago, but I reported that actually in I think it was 2018 or 2019. I still have the article from 2018 or 2019 when Putin said, I'm rejecting the United States dollar. That's why I'm trying to figure out what timeline am I on, because I reported that in 2018 and some people didn't even know about it. They didn't remember it. It was, I actually reported it again from an article in 2019, February, I think it was 2019. And then again recently. So Russia had been saying, I'm through dealing with the United States, Putin. And the reason why he did that is because he understands that the United States is actually a corporation that was incorporated in 1871 and registered in Delaware, that our country had been usurped by these bloodline families or these bloodline beings who made it with human beings. So Putin understood and overstood that the country had been usurped. So Xi from China and President Trump were and continue to dismantle that corporation and bring us or restore us our republic and the republics all over the world, which are our official governments that have been usurped. Once they do that, we will move from admiralty law to and law on the water, and admiralty or maritime law, which is the law of the water, law of the seas, back to the law of the land or the Constitution for the United States, or the constitutions or common law or natural law for every country. That is currently what's happening and being restored. So those three entities, Xi, Putin, and Trump, are working together. So keep in mind that some of these people who were nefarious actually switched over and joined the White Hats. In addition to that, you always had two factions. You had the lawful government and benevolent beings, and then you had unlawful governments working and malevolent beings or nefarious beings who had actually overtaken countries all over the world. Having said that, we know that the republic is being restored. However, the queen had to be gotten. She had to be eliminated. Now, so we see now the stock market plummeting. We have reported that the housing market is coming down. So this has been an orchestrated dismantling of the system. We heard that all of this would happen in 2017, which is why they tried to get rid of President Trump. They didn't like what he was doing, okay? They knew that he was taking them down. So now we see that even in Florida, where I live, the housing market is coming down. In fact, it is decreasing by 35%, at least. That's what I reported a week or two ago in South Florida, which is big news. Why is the housing market crashing? Because it was all planned. It's been inflated anyway. You all know that. They inflated the prices after the pandemic. A lot of corporations like Open Door, Zillow, and those big companies actually bought up the housing market. And even companies that are not American, they have foreign companies and entities buying up our land, buying up our property and our houses, and inflating the prices so that they can force us to pay higher prices in rent and mortgages. Now, what's happening now is we see them dumping those houses back onto the market with the supply chain interruption. And then with people not being able to afford them, they're dumping the houses back on the market, which is good for us because now we're about to go into a buyer's market. So families, stay encouraged. I know we've had high inflation. I know the United States dollar is losing its value, but this is going to be good for us. Let me tell you how. Let me get back to the story. Russia first announced that they were leaving the United States dollar. Then that led to the whole BRICS nation or BRICS union saying we're going to leave the United States dollar. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa makes up the BRICS nations. Well, once they announced that they are rejecting the United States dollar and moving to their own basket of currencies backed by gold and silver. You all know I love my precious metals. Other nations joined and said, we're going to leave the United States dollar. But again, remember, if you need to follow Bix Weir on Road to Ruta, because he talks about how there was a good faction actually working to bring down the economic system and go back to a gold system. So let's get back to the story. So after BRICS nations left the USD, then Saudi Arabia announced that they were leaving the United States dollar. That is huge. Okay. Why is that huge, Dr. Pruitt? Because if you follow CEO of Miles Franklin, Andy Schectman, he has been teaching us and telling us about what's going on in the gold and silver market, because he is a dealer of precious metals. He is at the top of the nation. He's one of very few companies that actually is registered, and I think it's Missouri. He is able to sell with the United States Mint. Most people aren't able to distribute United States Mint coins. He has a A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and never had one complaint. And yes, I am working now with Mr. Andy Schectman. As a matter of fact, as an aside, we will get the opportunity to interview Andy Schectman on next Tuesday morning at 11. And I don't know if I'm going to go live or not with that, because I'm a little shy on camera, believe it or not. So if I don't do it live, I will post it probably next Tuesday or Wednesday. So get excited, because again, he has one of the best, if not the best, precious metals dealing companies. As I said, not one complaint in 30 years of business and being part of the Better Business Bureau. So he told us that what made the United States dollar the reserve currency was our agreement with Saudi Arabia. Stay with me, family. I know this is a little lengthy, but what happened was we said to Saudi Arabia, you give us the oil and we'll protect you, and we will pay you with the United States dollar, and we will force or coerce or convince, however you want to put it, every nation in the world through OPEC and other societies to buy oil with the United States dollar. So that's what made us the reserve currency, or the currency that every country agreed to trade with. Having Saudi Arabia to say, I'm done, it's over, I no longer want to deal with the United States dollar, is huge, because if our agreement with them made our currency the reserve currency that every nation in the world had to use, you all must know what's going on behind the scenes is that countries all over the world are saying, okay, if Saudi Arabia can make a bold statement like that, and they're not afraid of what the United States is going to do to them, then we're going to reject the United States dollar too. So if you follow this channel, you know about Project Sandman. We didn't have a word for it when I first started reporting this in 2017, but we knew that there was a covert, private, secret agreement between 209 countries that agreed to drop the United States dollar and return to gold and silver. But a lot of people didn't know this. Now we have a name to put with it. It's called Project Sandman. After Saudi Arabia dropped the United States dollar, then Iraq, then Iran, Turkey, Malaysia, Egypt, and all these other countries, to the extent that now all exporting nations have dropped the United States dollar for trade. And now they're trading in gold and silver and different currencies, or a basket of currencies backed by gold and silver. What does that mean for us? As the United States dollar decreases in value, gold and silver increases in value. Yes. So get in the market. With the Queen's death, do you all know that affected not only the stock market, but it also affected the silver market, the precious metals market? And I'm going to give that article to you. So what I learned is that the Queen's death put a squeeze on already tight bullion coin market. So the market is to the point where people are just buying up silver and gold because they can see what's happening. Now, you all know that Andy Schectman from Miles Franklin had told us that he had, I think it was in late July, a billionaire to contact him and order $50 million worth of precious metals, 25 million in silver, 25 million in gold. Yes, this is real. We also know that countries have repatriated their gold and silver back to them. back from the Pope, back from the Queen and their grips. So family, get into the precious metals market while you can. Contact Andy Schectman at Andy at Miles, Miles, Franklin, FRANKLIN.com. I will put his email address in the description along with the number, and ask him. He will send you an inventory of what he has with a price list. Let him know that Dr. Kia Pruitt referred you, and you will get the best prices in the market. That's why right now, if you go to milesfranklin.com, you don't necessarily see prices, because he knows so many different people with whom he does business that he can negotiate to get the best prices. Once you post those prices, it's kind of like it's official. So, but if you contact Andy directly at Andy at milesfranklin.com, he can give you the inventory that he has and you can order directly from him. However, in about 2 to 3 weeks, our website will be an interactive website, which will have my name attached to his business, and I can give you a direct link so that we can do business together, family, and we can spread the wealth so that everybody's ready. So when these countries left the United States dollar, the dollar decreased in value, precious metals increased in value. I'm going to download also the United States debt clock. I'm going to put that website in the description channel. I want you to download that, or you look yourself on your phone or your computers and look at the dollar to silver ratio. That will tell you the true value of silver right now is actually $1,200. Then look at the dollar to gold ratio, and you will see that the true value of gold is $9,000 per ounce. Right now, you're paying about $20 an ounce for silver, but I just told you the real value is about $1,200. You're paying $1,700 or $1,800 an ounce for gold, and the real value is $9,000 an ounce. And a lot of our economists are telling us that silver will go up in value exponentially, that gold will go up in value between $10,000 and $100,000 an ounce at some point in the very near future. Get in on precious metals now, because not only are you building up wealth, taking worthless fiat dollars that's backed by nothing and investing in something, right? Buy low, sell high. I wouldn't advise you to sell precious metals, but at some point you might need to take those metals and buy you a house, because when we move to the gold and silver standard, your precious metals will increase your buying power and our prices will come down to pre-1971 prices. Okay, so this is what we're talking about, the wealth transfer. Now we, the people, will have that wealth. Having said that, the Queen's death has put a squeeze on an already tightly squeezed market. So some people are really having a hard time finding certain metals. And some banks are not willing to give up your money that's in the bank for you to purchase those precious metals. Mr. Andy Schectman told us that the billionaire who contacted him and got $50 million worth of silver, 25 million worth of silver, 25 million worth of gold, had an issue with the bank. She had to threaten them because they did not want to release her money. Then they contacted him and asked him, are you a real precious metals company? Is she really buying metals from you all? Which was none of their business. So these people are getting desperate. Having said that, the Queen's death is putting a squeeze on the market. People are now getting in the market and they're buying up all the precious metals, the silver and gold with her image, because now people want that as a memorabilia. So I will put that article in the description channel. Basically, it says the recent death of Queen Elizabeth II is squeezing gold and silver coin markets that were already strained by light or tight supplies. Now, I know on Quicksilver, when they announced that they were selling silver with her image, that went in a matter of 2 hours. All the metals that they had. So other companies are reporting the same. I will put that in the description channel, in the description section for you. Now, what is the breaking news? The breaking news is that Florida has arrested 160 human traffickers, 160 people who were involved in trafficking children and and women and children and men. That arrest included Disney workers, teachers, and illegal immigrants, amongst other people. I will put that in the description section as well. Listen, as Florida goes, so will the rest of the nation and the world. We know about Disney. This is why I love Governor DeSantis. Governor Ron DeSantis created an executive order saying that Disney could no longer become a self-governing body. They had their own government. They were able to do whatever they wanted to do. They were able to make their own rules and laws that were different and contrary to what the Florida laws had relegated or delegated for the rest of us. Now, I'm telling you, this governor is not playing with these people. You already know that he fired one of his attorneys who would not do the right thing in terms of prosecuting people who were committing crimes against humanity. He would not do whatever his job, basically. And so Governor DeSantis sent the police officers to his office, arrested him on the spot, and told him, you're not taking anything except for your personal possessions. Now, I'm going to read this article for you, and I'll put that in description section too. It says, Florida arrests 160 human trafficking in a big bus, which include the workers from Disney, teachers, and illegal immigrants. It goes on to talk about how one of the people who were strongly involved or highly involved in that is a sheriff. Now, you all know that according to the Republic, the sheriffs actually have powers and not policy enforcers that work for a corporation. Police officers are policy enforcers that enforce policy, statutes, and codes of the United States, the Constitution of the United States corporation. They work for the corporation. They're a corporate entity. They enforce policies. The sheriff's office actually is a part of the Republic. Those are the lawful entity, the lawful so-called enforcers of laws, not statutes and codes. So we'll get into that later. This person, his name is Sheriff Grady Judd. He said one of the biggest problems in our nation is prostitution, because prostitution is a funnel for human trafficking. And I'm going to read something about what he said. He said he's really tough on human traffickers, sex trafficking with children and any adults. So I'm going to read just from this article, and I will put that in the description section. He said the online prostitution industry enables traffickers and allows for the continued victimization of those who are being trafficked. Our goal is to identify victims and offer them help and arrest those people who are fueling this exploitation of human beings, including our children. And I'm going to arrest those who are profiting from the exploitation of these human beings. This is why we do not support prostitution. We don't support prostitution. We do not support pornography. We don't support the sex industry, period, because while you might think it's for your pleasure and gratification, you have to understand and understand that anything that feeds your sacral chakra to the extent that you become addicted is unhealthy and unnatural in terms of your personal development and your consciousness and your ascension to 5D and higher dimensions. Prostitution, pornography, and all these things have been an issue in terms of marriages. They have destroyed the church. They have destroyed marriages. And having a brother who has been over Northern California male ministry, who was really involved in trying to help men with this issue, I know that pastors are involved in prostitution and pornography. People in ministry, people high up, your lawyers, your judges, your doctors, even everyday people are consumed by this industry that is destroying marriages. It harms your libido because you're watching this stuff and being involved in this unnatural stuff or stuff that it can get really outlandish in terms of your fetishes, to the extent that now that when you're with your mate or your husband or wife, you expect them to do those things, and when they can't, they don't turn you on, and then it makes you unhappy. This is just coming from counseling certain people and hearing from my brother's ministry how this harms men and marriages. So family members, get away from it. A lot of people who started out as models end up becoming prostitutes, and they end up becoming, as even this particular person said, involved in being exploited. And he goes on in the article to say they are prostituted out and then they become involved in drugs. Now, I'm going to give you a personal story. I do know of somebody personally who was just a beautiful, beautiful young lady So I said, I know her, so I can't say her name. She's really connected to me. I love her so much. Beautiful young lady who was modeling. And she started out just modeling in front of the camera. And she said she was excited about it. She's young, she's beautiful, got a nice body, beautiful complexion, at the top of her class in high school, summa cum laude, and beautiful, like I said, hair, skin, everything. She just looks exotic. She's brown and she just had this bubbly personality, this big, beautiful hair, sweet young lady. She was modeling, nice physique. And she said what happens is when you're modeling with your clothes. First, your parents come, and then they become friends with your parents. Oh, you don't have to come. We got it. We have our best interest at heart, and when we're paying. And she said, then they'll say, oh, you can drop that. You can take off that jacket. You'll be okay. You're just modeling. And then they'll tell you, why don't you model this swimsuit? So you're modeling a swimsuit, then they'll get you to take a strap down. So what they do is they seduce you to the point that you think you're modeling. Then you get into foot modeling and feeding men's fetishes that way. And then before you know it, you're pushed into prostitution, stripping at strip clubs, pornography, and then you're so upset with yourself that you allowed yourself to do that. You have no protection. So then you have to hire a man or a John to protect you from all the people who are harming you. And now you're being abused by the John and you're being exploited. So to deal with this, a lot of prostitutes, a lot of people involved in porn, and a lot of your strippers are actually doing drugs to deal with it. So family, listen, we're moving to higher dimensions. You don't need these industries. These are nefarious industries that have been put into our reality to break up homes, to snatch our children away from them. Some of our children go missing, and to keep us at our base nature. On this channel, we're becoming highly self-actualized individuals. We're raising our vibration. We are doing the best thing for ourselves, for our families, to increase our crown chakra. Remember, we're moving to a golden era, and this is why they call the V word corona. Corona means crown, as in your crown chakra, that part that deals with your consciousness. That crown as in gold, the golden era, dealing with raising to a Christ consciousness, raising your vibrations to become one with the universal creator that created all things. So we don't need those entities and industries to feed us, to cause harm in our families, or cause us to emit pain and loosh so that those negative, nefarious entities can eat. So I'm encouraging you to get rid of that. I wanted to bring that breaking news to let you know that Governor DeSantis is doing wonderful things in the state of Florida. Now, for all of my people that say they're upset with me, don't understand why I can get behind that person because he doesn't look like me, I'm about consciousness and what you're doing for we the people. Another thing he recently did was he created channels and orders to give to organizations that promoted fatherhood. So fatherhood development corporations, entities, men, ministries that were helping men to get jobs, to get skills, to make money in order to provide for their families. That is huge because you have a lot of communities that have absent fathers or fathers that have been in prison. So he's funneling money into different channels to help people coming out of prison to get a skill, to become rehabilitated, to receive counseling, to learn a trade. This is amazing. So when you see somebody like that, you give honor to whom honor is due. So the reason why I brought him up is because he has arrested 160 people involved in human trafficking, and that even includes Disney. I can tell you that I believe Disney will be shut down at some point, or one of you will own it and call it something else when our currencies revalue. So you all know that over here we talk about the dinar, the Iraqi dinar, we talk about Indonesian rupiah, Vietnamese dong, Zimbabwe zim, Venezuelan money, and all these different exotic currencies that at one point will revalue during the global currency reset. So I've talked about the global currency reset on any some of my videos. I will put that in the description channel as well. Now, in my conclusion, I don't know if you all know, but there was a congressman that died in September the 6th in an early morning collision on an Alaskan highway. It said that he was a former Republican lawmaker, and his name is Vic Koring, Kohring, Koring. And so I reported this because I'm noticing that a lot of lawmakers are coming up with the C word, the CV, or they're dying. And they said he came into the medium of the highway in the middle of the road during and while the traffic was coming towards him, and they don't know why he did that, because they said they can't figure out what's really going on. Now, I don't know if he committed suicide or if somebody was chasing him. They didn't say that, or if this just is another explanation for how these people are leaving us. You all know that I told you that many of our congressmen and women actually are lawyers. According to the Constitution, and those who frame the Constitution, you may not have a title of nobility and make laws. If you have Esquire behind your name, God bless you. You did a lot of hard work. It was not easy. And I respect you. I'm just saying that you had to pass the bar, the British Accredited Registry, which means that you are beholden to the British throne, to the Queen, and you did not work for we the people. You have ESQ behind your name as a title of nobility. You are not supposed to serve in Congress. You are not supposed to make laws, because your laws will not serve us. So a lot of these people in Congress will either be at Guantanamo Bay because of that, and because a lot of them actually were involved in insider trading, and a lot of them sold out we the people to the Chinese Communist Party. Now, speaking of some of them that may be at Guantanamo Bay, there is some person that is in Guantanamo Bay right now who worked under the Obama administration. This person in February asked to please be allowed to leave if he gives some incriminating information against the deep state and against the FBI. He said, I will tell you all as much information as you need, as long as, and this is what the article say, he had the audacity to demand $10 million worth of diamonds and safe transport to South America if he gives up this very detailed information. What did he say? He said, I have news that there's an assassination attempt on President Trump. So now he's first let this out in February, but now he's talking some more right now, and they're taking him seriously because he knew about the raid that was going on in Mar-a-Lago. He knew about a lot of stuff, inside stuff, before it even happened, and he's been telling people at Guantanamo Bay that this is not fake. I have inside information. I need you all to protect President Trump, even though I'm on the opposite side. But I can only give you some information if you give me $10 million worth of diamonds and allow me to have safekeeping in South America. They said he had the audacity to demand it. But what happened was they decided to take him even more seriously now after that raid. Okay, that's what I'm hearing from intel after reading this article. And they were saying that there's no way he could have known this because he's been in solitary confinement since April. So in other words, these people knew what they were going to do to try to take down President Trump. So what they're doing now is they're beefing up security and protecting him, his wife, his children, and his assets and all of his properties. According to this particular article that you know I will submit in the description channel, a description section, they are making sure that they're protecting his properties because this man has given them inside information about how they had intended to take away or demolish President Trump's properties. So I know this has been lengthy today. I thank you all so much for your support. I love you. And I've had the opportunity to talk to some of you on the telephone when you've called about precious metals, or you just called about whatever. I appreciate you. Or you called about the wand that I had, this healing device. You all saw it. I'm going to bring it to you. Hold on 1 minute. So this is a wand that I have. It's called the iTerra. It's a healing device. What you do is you charge it, you plug it up and you charge it, and then you pull some filtered water or healthy water in a glass jar. It can't be plastic. And you actually wave it around the water, or you charge the water, and then you drink the water, and the water has healing properties. I've heard testimonies. I know a personal testimony of a woman who cured her varicose veins. They were really bad. They were popping out of her leg and they were discolored. She cured herself. She cured her daughter with the wine and a raw vegan diet from type 1 diabetes, which is something they say cannot be cured. I've heard of people curing themselves of tumors and blood clots and all type of things. And so in this increasing my energy, just having it around. So you all know I already have high energy. I got this from Mel Carmine. He and I will be working together. So people have been calling me about this. So you've been calling me about so many things. And listen, I just want to let you know that I love you so much. I do this because I love humanity, and my desire and my purpose is to help to liberate us and to raise our vibrations so that we can be highly self-actualized, highly developed, and joyful human beings, or God beings, or goddess beings on the planet. Somebody told me I need to look up the word human. They said that's not a good word. I don't know. I haven't looked it up, but I will. Friends and family members, if my channel serves you or raises your vibrations or give you good news, click the like channel, click the like button, and tell us in the comment section what you get from the channel, what you like from the channel, what more you would like to see. So hit the like button, share, and tell your friends and family members about all the wonderful news that we've been hearing, because the energy of the planet was low, but now we're raising the vibrations. And you and I and all of our soul family that have met here and elsewhere, we're all raising the vibrations of the entire planet. And that is what is truly liberating us. So the beings that are here helping us and the Creator, they were waiting to a critical mass of us awaken. And so we have helped to contribute to that, because where we go one, we go all. We have been enslaved as an entire planet together, and we are being liberated together. My name is Dr. Kia Pruitt, and I hope that something that I have said have raised your vibrations and given you information and the joy that you need to create a wonderful, magnificent reality that you desire and deserve. I'm out, family. I have to get to some business. I love you. And remember, contact Andy Schectman for your precious metals. Andy at milesfranklin.com. And I will also give you his telephone number. And tell him Dr. Kia Pruitt referred you so that you can get the best prices on the market. Mwah. Peace, family. Enjoy your day. Make it great.